Hey everyone, so in this week's session we're going to look at the posterior chain. For those who don't know, put simply, the posterior chain is just all the muscles that run along the back of your body from your feet all the way up to your head. But critically for runners, this includes two of the biggest and strongest, most powerful muscle groups in your body, which is your glutes and your hamstring. And these are the muscles that basically are responsible for propelling us forward when we run. The anterior muscles, the hip flexors and the quads, more for resetting our stride, but it's really muscles in the posterior chain that give us all our power when we run. But having said that, we have a tendency to neglect these muscles, and added to that, this is compounded by the fact that we spend so much time sitting, if we're doing desk jobs or working in an office, that these muscles can actually become underused, and sometimes this means they don't fire properly. It's what's known as sleepy glute syndrome. Also, studies have shown that unless we are actively doing strength and conditioning work to reinforce the posterior chain, most runners become what's called quad dominant. So not only is this less efficient because we're not recruiting these power muscles, but it also can lead to a range of injuries because of this muscle imbalance, including lower back pain, runner's knee, IT band syndrome, and Achilles tendonitis. So it's really important that we're reinforcing and strengthening the posterior chain muscles, and the best way to do this is through strength and conditioning workouts. Added to this, if you're doing workouts in the gym, on the treadmill, it takes a lot out of that forward propulsion because the treadmill itself is doing some of that recoiling of your posterior chain muscles. So this really needs to be worked on at home. So this is what we're going to do on today. In order to identify, first of all, if we've already become quad dominant, and therefore maybe our posterior chain needs even more work, we're going to do a little test. So what I want everybody to do is come up onto your feet, and turn sideways on, just so you can see this. Now you're going to close your eyes, and I'm going to do this on purpose the first time to show you. You're going to close your eyes, and you're going to come down into a squat position. So everyone close their eyes, come down to where you'd naturally be in your squat, and open your eyes. Now here, can you see my knees are ahead of my toes. So this would be a quad dominant position. This is like indicative. Basically what you're doing is you're using your quads here to do basically what your glutes should be doing for you. So if we come up again, what we're going to focus on doing is squatting down and back. You see the difference? So if we're in a quad dominant position, we go like this. Our shins are kind of at an angle, our knees are ahead of our toes. So this is bad. This is an indication that you're maybe quad dominant and you need to work your posterior chain to strengthen it more. So a better position is right back. So we're sitting back as though there's a stool there, but you see critically here, I mean, it's very hard for your shins to be completely vertical, but they're behind your toes. This is really like the good sign that you've got strong glutes and you're recruiting them properly. So the first thing we're going to do in today's exercise is we're going to do some glute activation work. So we're going to do 5-minute warm-up, very simple. We're going to start with bird dogs, which anybody who does yoga will know. We're going to come onto our hands and knees. This is just the warm-up, 5 minutes, 40 seconds of each exercise. So from this tabletop position, just curl your back, like tuck your pelvis. You're just going to bring one foot up and then bring it down, keeping your knee bent the whole time. And in this position, this is really isolating your glute. It's only your glute that can pull your leg up like this, but you're also working your hamstring in an isometric way. And at the top, what I want you to do is just concentrate on holding that just for like a microsecond more, because then you're going to get an isometric hold at the top. Otherwise, we can kind of go up and back down. But if we come to the top and hold it there, we get an extra little workout. So that's our first one, bird dogs. Second one, we're going to come to prone lifts. So you're going to come right down onto your face and you're going to knock the water over. In 5 seconds, all you're going to do is concentrate as hard as you can on tensing your glutes and lifting your legs off the ground using just your glutes to do that. So we've already started. Just remember, breathe out as you tense. And just slowly and in a controlled way, let your legs fall to the ground. Tense your glutes, whole legs off the floor, including your upper thighs. You should have a little gap if you were to put your hand down there. Just making sure you've lifted all of your legs off the ground. can do this a few more times. Great. Just going to move my water, otherwise I'm going to knock it over for the next one. So we're going to do exactly the same thing again, but this time we're going to do with a hip abduction. So you're going to come back down into your prone position, and when you lift your legs, you're going to spread them out a bit, and then bring them back, touch your toes together, put them back down to the ground. So again, lift your legs up, spread them, bring them back together, bring them down. That should feel quite challenging because what you're doing in this prone position is recruiting your glute med, which is basically what's responsible for your hip abduction here. This is really important for us as runners that we work with glute med because it's responsible for the tracking of our knees, so you can end up with runner's knee if you have a weak glute med, basically because it's not aligning your feet properly. So tense them up, spread them out, back together, and back down. Excellent. Next one we're going to do is hip bridges. So we're going to come now onto our back, feet flat on the floor, knees more or less together. And in this position, we're just going to bridge up. So head back on the ground. Just concentrate on your glutes and your hamstrings tensing to pull your body up. And really concentrate at the top. We're going to hold for like a microsecond just to get this isometric hold at the top there. Tense your glutes, hold it at the top, breathe out, drop it back down. Tense your glutes, breathe at the top, drop it back down. Do this a few more times. Three, two, one. Nice. And then the last one we're going to do in this glute activation is the same thing, but we're going to do what's called frog bridges. So you're going to put your feet together, basically, and then repeat the same thing. But because our feet aren't flat on the floor here, it's really hard for us to recruit our hamstrings. We're isolating, essentially, the glutes even more. So here, focus on tensing the glutes, bringing your hips off the ground. And basically by doing this, by being in this position, by basically taking our feet off the ground, placing the palms of our feet, soles of our feet, together, we're removing the ability for us to use our hamstrings as much. Really focus on that isometric hold at the top. And this is all about our glute activation. 3 more seconds here. 1 more. Great, nice. Okay, so everyone's booty should feel fully activated now. We're going to get into the main workout. Now, as we're assuming that not all of you have access to gym equipment here, and we only have body weight to work with, we're going to increase the load while also adding an element of balance and foot stabilization to these by doing most of the exercises on one leg. So this is great because we're increasing the load on our muscles, but adding an extra element of coordination and balance. But if you do have a kettlebell or any kind of weight at home, you're going to get a lot more out of this exercise if you do. So if you do, go and grab it now, pause the video, come back, or alternatively, just maybe do this with your body weight only, and then when you're feeling comfortable with it, work up to this. Okay? Right, so we're going to get to it. Same format as always. We're going to do 40 seconds on, 20 seconds rest. First thing we're going to do is just donkey kicks. So like we practiced at the beginning, but we're going to do them one leg only. We're not swapping legs until the end of the first round. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Again, let's just make sure we've got that hold at the top. Hold at the top, breathe out as you get to the top. Breathe in as you reset. This is great just for isolating only your glutes. And also working your hamstring in an isometric way. 10 more seconds of this one. That's good. I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other leg. We're doing 2 rounds of these, so again, like the last session, we've got kind of 10-minute micro set, which you can double up to do a 20-minute workout, but that way it's much easier for you to do it in a free 10 minutes at home. Okay, let's go on the right leg. Tense it up, breathe in, reset. Breathe out, hold, down and reset. You should really feel the difference here by adding in that little isometric hold at the very top. Your muscles forced to work that little bit harder and holding the whole weight of your leg up there, rather than if we were just doing this. Just a little subtle way to get a bit more out of the exercise. 10 more seconds of this one. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Alright, next one. This is where if you've got a kettlebell or a little weight, we're doing single leg deadlifts or warrior 3 for any yogis out there. Okay, so you're going to focus on our right leg first. Coming forward, we're really wobbling. Holding this position, and then when you reset, really focus, like visualize your glute contracting to pull you up. Otherwise, what I don't want really is your leg falling down and you're just standing up. You really need to exaggerate that movement, feel your glute contracting to pull you back up. If you've got your kettlebell, you can be down in this position. And this is why with that loading, over exaggerate that hip movement, slight bend in the knee. Oops. Three, 2, 1, good stuff. And we're coming on to the other leg. Again, up to you. If you've got no weight, you can do this in a warrior 3 kind of way with our hands forward. If you're having any sort of trouble with balance, like I sometimes do, let's pick a point on the floor and that should help you. The most important thing here is focusing on your glute contracting to bring you back upright and an over extension of the hip. So rather than kind of finishing this state, almost like this, because that's really your glute, it's like putting you through the movement. Three, 2, 1. Nice. Next we're going into pistol squats. I wouldn't recommend doing these with a kettlebell unless you're really, really confident. We're going to do a variation of this. For those who aren't as confident with the pistols, you can do a toe touch. So I'm going to show both of them. First of all, right leg pistols. Remember, here when you're sitting back, we've got to keep this knee behind our toes. If we're doing this, it's no good. So really just focus on sitting back as much as possible. Whoops. And don't worry about going all the way down if you can't. Like, it's better, you want to do this with good form and safely first. So if you don't get to here and go back up, that's absolutely fine. But the important thing is knee back behind your toes, and when you push up through your heel. Pushing up through your heel and really visualize as well your glute contracting. The option for people who don't want to do that is toe touch. For some reason I find it harder. But you should do exactly the same thing. Pushing up through your heel and imagining your glute contracting. That's our first set on our right leg. Switching onto our left leg. Going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maintain our balance. Sit back. As low as we can safely go. Focusing on a point on the floor, pushing up through the heel and over accentuate that contraction at the top. Down. It's not like you shouldn't feel this in your quads, you're inevitably going to feel a little bit in your quads, but the majority of the force, the effort here, should be in your glute. 3, 2, 1. Right, next we're coming into bar squats. All this is now, again, same deal. We want to sit back, and then we're going to come up into this position. We're going to stand up, and then do it again. What this is doing, we're just bringing our calves into the workout a bit. Sit back, come up onto your tippy toes, down, up, whoop. Sit down, back, up into your toes, down, up. We don't focus a lot on our calves, but we should do, especially if, like me, you've got Achilles problems. Strengthening of our calf and our Achilles, super important. Balance up. This is also great for our patella and for strengthening our metatarsals and the muscles in our feet. Great. Next one, we've got a rear lunge leg lift. So I'll come down into our rear lunge position. Remember, knee always behind our toes. But when we stand up here, it's kind of an odd one. We're going to stand up through our heel of our leading leg, and our back leg is going to follow up with us. So we've got two things going on here. We've got pushing up through the floor. So our left glute, in this instance, pushing us off the floor, but your right glute is staying in an isometric hold. So we're working both of our glutes independently in a different way. Don't smash down to the ground either. We want to make sure that everyone comes down in a very controlled way. I told you these are good for balance. Nice. Okay, moving on to the other leg. We're going in 5 seconds now. Lower it back down, gently pushing up through our heel. Really contracting the glute on that back leg as well. And if you can, as much as possible, you know, much more out of this, if you don't push up with your back leg. So one way of doing that is put your foot flat down, so you literally can't push up with it. But that may be something we want to work up to. 10 seconds left on this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Last one in the first set, the scalar squats. So from this position, we're going to come down, remember we're squatting back. As we come up, we're abducting our hip out, so we're bringing our glute med into this, like we were earlier. Again, squat back. As you come up, we're about to kick the bookshelf. Don't do that. Squat back, up. You should feel, you really should feel that in your glute med here. You do it front way, it's better for the furniture. That's it. Squat back, up, that abduction on the way up. Let's get that little isometric hold at the top as well, just for a little split second. Three, 2, 1. Nice. Right. First set done. Come into the second set. Okay. We're going to go straight into it. No rest. Starting again with our donkey kicks. So our donkey kick on the left hand side. Into our tabletop position. Scoop your bar. Just bending that knee. And really get that isometric hold at the top. So 13 seconds of this, now we're switching legs. This is only body weight, but you should be really feeling a Nice. Beginnings of a nice little bearing on that leg. Okay, that's it. Got our little gap, our little break. And moving on to our right hand leg. Right leg, same thing, donkey kicks. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Halfway through here. Nice contraction at the top. Also, if you've got a little resistance band and you want to add to this, you can put a resistance band around your knees. It's going to add a lot to this movement as well. 3, 2, 1. Okay, good work. Going back into our single leg deadlifts, or our warrior 3, whichever one you want to do. Grab your kettlebell or your weight if you have it. We're going again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start on our right leg. Pick your point on the ground, maintain your balance, concentrate, slight bend in the knee. As you come back up, really concentrate on that contraction. Reset your balance. Down, point. Over exaggerate that tension of the glute at the top as well. Come right through to pushing the hips forward. Imagine, really visualize your hamstring and your glute as the thing that's contracting and pulling your upper body back upright. It's not a simple case of hinging like this. 3, 2, 1. Good work. Moving on to the other side now. Our left leg, starting in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. We're doing our sort of warrior 3. Straight arms. Push forward with your hips. And really, like saying, especially during lockdown, if you can get your hand on one bit of gym equipment, get just one kettlebell. Because doing something like this on one leg with a kettlebell is such good strength training at home with only one piece of equipment and a very small piece of equipment as well. That's it for the deadlifts, and we're going back into our pistol squats. Start on our left leg. Just remember how we're squatting down. Keep our knee back down behind the front of our toes. And just down as far as we can safely. And do these build week on week to get a little bit deeper. Remember, you're driving up through your heel. And same thing like we do with the deadlifts at the top. Concentrate on that contraction of the glute as well. So really visualize you're pushing up through your heel, not through your quads. So not your sort of quads that are contracting to pull you up here as much as possible. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You lost it there then. Going on to the other leg, onto our right leg, pistol squats. 3, 2, 1, same thing. Squat down. Ooh, easy, almost gone straight away there. Not concentrating. Pick your point on the floor. It's really important. Concentrate. Get that stabilization of the body there. Breathe in on the way down. Breathe out. Push through our heel on the way back up. And so our last 5 seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Time there. Right. Next, onto our bar squats. Remember? Coming down in our good, nice squat position, not our naughty squat position. Butts back as far as we can. And when we're down here, up on our toes. Let's go. Up on our toes, hold it, back down, stand up, pushing hips forward, onto our toes. Squat back and down, up onto our tippy toes, down, up. Squat. Squat down, our tippy toes, back down, up, and again, down. I've definitely had this on 3 times. I'm not imagining it. Got technical fault. Bear with me. Seems to be wanting to play Fantastic Man on loop. Oh, please. Oh, that's why. Oh, technical difficulties. Apologies for that. Right. That was a little bonus rest. Right, we're back to it. Rear lunge, leg lift. So, come to our rear lunge. Remember, as we're pushing up, our left leg in this instance, it's got that isometric hold, staying out behind us. And if you can, I'm going to add a bit of difficulty. Put our foot flat down on the floor, which basically means that training leg can't assist us at all in standing up. Come down with as much control as possible. If you don't feel confident in bringing your leg down under control, and keep your leg here so you can ease yourself down. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Switching legs. Left leg forward now. And in 3, 2, 1. Squat down. Push up through our heel. Tensing in the back. Squat it down. You haven't got a little burn in your glute now. Well, then you've got stronger glutes than I have. Last 10 seconds of this one. Coming down to our last exercise of the workout. 2, 1. Nice. Last exercise here. Back to our skater squats. Remember, squatting down and back. When we come up, adducting our leg. Squat it down. A bit more elegantly than I just did it. Squat it back and down. And we're going. Remember that little micro hold at the top as well. Let's get more out of that movement, because it's only body weight based. We're doing the best with what we've got and no equipment, but it's surprising the workout you can get out of this. Squat down and back, stand up, adopt the leg, hold it there, down and back. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Well done, lazy boys. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you again next week for another workout.